What's up YouTube, Webberz05 here coming at you today with Q&A number 36. So today I've had a few additional questions from some of the other members of Team Sorcerers, so without further ado, let's get into this. So first question is from Starlight William Magician. Question, you can only play one deck for the rest of your life. What are you playing? Gee, that's a tough one. Let me think about that while I lean on this Endymion playmat, and I just quickly move these Endymion sleeves out of the way while I think. For those who are new to my channel, you probably don't know I am an absolute huge Endymion duelist. I've been playing the deck ever since it came out in the structure deck, even after Servant got hit to 1 and Electromite got banned. I still absolutely love the deck. And frankly, as long as that deck is viable, I will continue to play that. That being said, if Mighty Master was to ever get banned, I'd probably just convert over to Plunder Patrol. Next question is from Express Gaming. Do you think we'll get other new pot cards in a future set, and what would it do? I do think it's possible that we'll get some new pot cards. Konami's always seeming to be doing a new pot card like every couple of sets. I think we typically get at least like one pot card a year, give or take. And for the moment, I'm not really sure what else they could do to add into new pot cards, because pretty much all the ones we've got, they cover a good amount of what they're capable of doing. If I was to probably add another pot card, I'd say maybe take a page from Rush Duels and import one of the new pot cards that just got released in Rush Duels into the TCG, because I think it could be quite interesting. So for those who aren't into Rush Duels and haven't seen it, Rush Duels just got a new spell card called Pot of Arrogance. How this spell works is, it states, draw 2 cards, for the rest of this turn you cannot activate spell cards. So it's a little bit of a less restrictive version of Sekka's Light. So but I think it could be quite interesting to see how that works in TCG, because essentially, like I said, it's a bit like Sekka's Light, but it's not as restrictive, because as opposed to Sekka's Light locking you out for the entire duel, this just locks you out for the turn. So I think if they were to bring that to TCG, they'd probably give it the same starting condition as Pot of Extravagance, which is probably at the start of your main phase, that you can only activate it at the start of your main phase 1. So I think if they added that into it, that could make it cool. I think that could be quite interesting for decks that don't use a lot of spell cards, but still, as it's the TCG, they probably need to add the TCG/OCD. They'd have to add in an additional restriction to it. Naturally, they don't really have restrictions in Rush Dueling because it's a completely different format, but yeah, overall, I think Pot of Arrogance could really shake up how the TCG works. So I would be interested to see if at some point down the line they import that in. And also who knows, maybe they'll do it in September with the Pot collection. We shall see. And the last 7 questions are from my good friend DarkPatrician84. So, question 1. Do you see yourself getting back into speed duels? I plan to after I've showcased my remaining past format decks. I'm not really I've kind of really gone off speed duels. Like the past couple of, the only decks I've got built are like really old, so I haven't really taken a look at any of the new stuff. So I'd have to take a look into that before I try and do something. So yes, I have seen in the more recent sets like the Supreme Kings and the Supreme King Evil Heroes are now like in speed duel, so I could potentially take a look at that, but not really sure. I much prefer Rush Duels as an alternative format. I find that so much. I just find that way more fun. It's like constantly. It's sort of like got the speed of a speed duel, because it's like of its additional rules of like multiple normal summons and yeah, only 3 phases, so Also, the thing I like with rush duels is that in a back and forth game, it's always like, yeah, back and forth, because in rush duels, the key thing with it is that during your draw phase, you draw until you have 5 cards in your hand, so always got a really good chance to make a comeback, which I think is great. So, yeah, probably wouldn't get into speed duels, but I would absolutely love rush duels to come to the TCG. 2. If one night we were to have a 3 versus 3 tag team duel, as in a team of 3 against another team of 3, who would you choose as your partners? So a tag team 3-on-3, that would be like standard team dueling, which essentially the rule set is 2 players out of the 3 on a team need to win their match. Thinking it over, if I was to have a team of 3 for that, I'd probably pick Jude, being one of the best players at our locals, and probably either Noah or Will, because I know those guys are pretty good at getting their games done pretty quickly, so yeah, I'd probably try and optimize. So for like a group dueling event, I'd probably try and optimize skill and speed, so yeah, probably just try and go in there with some of the best of the locals and see if we can just dominate the entire thing. Question 3. Favorite fusion spell or card that performs fusion summons? I had to have a bit of a think about this, because there's a lot of good fusion spells in the game that I like. Some that I've got really good memories of doing interesting plays with them. But if I had to pick one, I would probably have to say Dark Calling, because in my past I've absolutely loved the evil hero archetype. On the DS I used to play Dark Gaia FTK, and Dark Calling was essentially the main reason I got to do that. So I've just got so many good memories of doing things with Dark Calling, so that's a fusion card that probably has a really special place in my heart. And I would still very much like Konami to reprint that in a foil rarity, as opposed to its just rare and common that it only has. So yeah, that'd be nice. Question 4. Favorite duel from the original series? Original series, there has been so many amazing duels throughout that, but I think without a doubt my favorite duel from the original. That being said, I'm not sure if you mean like by original series you just mean the entirety of the Duel Monsters series, which includes the original series up to Dawn of the Duel, then my favourite one of that has to be Clash in the Coliseum of Yu-Gi-Oh! Against Kyber in Battle City. That was an absolutely phenomenal match. Just back and forth constantly, and it was just so satisfying seeing Yugi summon Red Eyes Black Dragon in honour of Joey. That was great. And overall, the duel was absolutely phenomenal. I absolutely loved it. Question 5. Favorite duel from GX? I found this a pretty difficult one to think about. I can't think of as many matches in GX in comparison to the original series. I did quite like one of the ones we didn't get in the dub, which happened in Japan, which was only in Japan, which was when Cyrus used the Cyberdark deck in tandem with his own against that Jinzo guy, which I thought was really interesting. But for one that I found in the dub version that I really liked, I'm trying to remember which one was. Probably my favourite duel was the competition between Hasselberry and Cyrus when they were competing with each other to be Jaden's second in command, which was quite interesting. And Cyrus just essentially took advantage of the flaw in Ultimate Tyranno's conditioning and just forced him into an infinite loop where he killed himself. That was very amusing to watch, and I enjoyed it very much. Question 6. Do you still have your GOAT format deck? I do still have my GOAT format deck. I'm just not really using it because, frankly, at the moment, in terms of past format, everyone seems to be on things like Hat or Edison, which I don't have a deck for, so GOAT's just kind of sitting there. And frankly, GOAT, while it's very skillful. Yes, I agree, Goat's very one of those really have to think about what you're doing formats. I don't really have as much interest in playing Goat at the moment. Yes, it's fun to use Pot of Greed, Graceful Charity, Duo, etc., but not really that fast on more. I've got so many things right now that I've been editing in my decks, I just want to test around with those at the moment. So, not really too fussed with Goat. 7. Regarding my wedding reception, whenever it happens, do you have any food preferences? I think the only preferences I would have is just have options that aren't dairy based, as I'm lactose intolerant, so that's pretty much primarily it for me. Don't really have too much to say otherwise. But yeah, that'll just be it really. And on that note, guys, that is all the questions I have today, so thank you very much to the members of Team Sorcerers for your questions, very amusing. And for anyone else who wants to ask me questions, I do these Q&As every Wednesday afternoon or morning UK time, depending on my schedule. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.